It's recording.
Okay, so hi Aika. Today
Hi.
I would like to talk about how we can become more lucky in life. And
Mhm.
the trick, in my opinion, analyzing my life experience, is to really know what exactly is it that you want. And then when you see any opportunity to get closer to that goal, just take that opportunity. Read that book, talk to that person, take that action, learn that skill, like whatever uh, makes you closer to the goal. And doing that, you will take advantage of the fact that the reality is constantly rearranging itself and everything is changing, and there are new opportunities that will help you to get to your goal uh, on the horizon. But unless you know what you want, you will never see them and you will never realize how lucky you are. And we say that success is when preparation meets opportunity or meets luck. And basically, if you are prepared and if your mind is seeking for the right clues in reality, it's filtering it in the right way, you will see so many opportunities that you would otherwise miss, and you will be so much more lucky, and everything will come so much easier to you.
Mm-hmm. With lucky, do you mean a broad definition or a narrow definition? The broad definition would be a person who is happy is a person who is lucky. He's lucky about his life. And the narrow definition would be something that I'm not able to influence myself. So yes, if I'm working hard, there's a good chance I'm going to achieve the things that I want, that my goals, and that might make me happy. We could say lucky. And also when I am working hard, um, there's I'm going to have more opportunities. But if you define it more narrowly, it would mean there's things happening, external things that you can't influence, that will help you achieve your goal. So are you talking about that kind of luck?
Exactly.
Okay.
You will be helped by almost like external forces that you cannot even see. The moment you set an intention, you have maybe no idea how you're gonna get there. But as time goes on, and as you constantly think about this, and you constantly look in your environment, you filter reality through that lens, you will start seeing those things that you would otherwise miss that will help you so much. So it's not about hard work. It's about like having very clear vision that you really connect to, and keeping it in the front of your mind so that the whole reality becomes basically like you filter it, so everything that could help you is going to help you, so you will notice things that you would have otherwise missed. And this is the key, I think.
Okay. All right. So let's say we have two people that have to go to the top of the mountain, and A is very much determined to go there. So he's the person that should get lucky. And B is the person who kind of wants to go there but doesn't really have a real reason of going there. It's kind of a have to. He has to go there, but he doesn't really want to go there. So what you're saying is that A, the first person, might get there earlier because he has a very strong will and therefore is going to work harder. But not only that, also because of his mind is focused on getting to the mountain, he's going to notice opportunities that person B might not notice. So he might notice, or he might think about, oh, there's this friend who maybe has a car that I could maybe get, or maybe he's noticing a certain conversation that other people have that they want to go on top of the mountain. He thinks maybe I can go with them. So his mind is open to these opportunities. This I agree. What I have my doubts about is what he's also saying, that not only will A be more likely to get there because he works harder and because he sees the opportunities that the other person, the second person, might miss, but also because there's certain opportunities that present himself to A, which don't present himself to B, which is like the universe is aligning. And this is something which I don't see. I don't see how this is happening. I don't see, of course, you can say, well, there's God. Um, so A wants to really go to the mountain, and then his wish, or maybe he's also praying, prays to God, God, please make it possible that I can go to the mountain. and then magically a cable appears where he can slide up the mountain, or a lift appears in front of him and he can go up the mountain. This would be magic, and this kind of magic could happen by God. Some people would believe that, and you're saying, I know you don't believe in God, at least in the Catholic God, but you're saying there's some other kind of magic where things happen the way you want it. How can you explain that?
Can you hear me? Okay.
A little bit.
So, so you were saying that there's like this magic thing, right? And this magic component to it. And I think that's how it feels sometimes. That's literally how it feels. Whereas there is an explanation or not. And I think the explanation might be that you just notice those things. Maybe you talk about what you want going to the mountain, and maybe someone else hearing that you want to go to the mountain will in 1 month talk to someone else who was on the mountain and would like connect you both. Like you are setting this powerful intention somehow out there, and you start, it seems like, it feels like you start attracting everything that's related to that. And also you use maybe other people and their connections and their minds in order to help you with that.
Oh, okay, all right, okay. I mean, that of course does make sense. An example for that would be, person A wants to go on top of the mountain. He gets a book, and person B gets the same book. And they just go like this. They just flip through the pages, and suddenly one page stands out like, wait, there was something of interest. And A goes back and it's like, something of interest. And then he reads How to Get on Top of the Mountain, The Secret. And this is something which he like, whoa, I didn't even see it. There was no way I could see it. I was just flipping like this through the book. True. But the subconscious, 90% of our brain is subconscious, that can actually notice these things, and you're not even aware what it is. You haven't even noticed anything, but somehow you feel like you have to go back. But it's actually conscious. I mean, this is you subconsciously saw it, and that your subconscious told you, let's go back. So when you have really a very strong intention, your subconscious is activated and can work for you to find solutions going far beyond your conscious mind. So if that's what you define as luck, I'd say, yeah, okay, I'd call it subconscious, but yes, I agree with that.
But that's like such a powerful idea, because normally the narrative would be work harder, right? Whereas maybe clarify your intention and remind yourself about your intention, and maybe tell everyone you know about your intention is the easy way to go. And leverage not only what you have in your brain, but what your friends have in your brain, what your family has in your brain, what strangers that you talk to have in their brains, because you tell everyone, I'm going to the mountain. And everyone is like, I know a guy who was in the mountain, or did you hear this book that is about how to get there faster or something? So you start gathering all these things effortlessly. It's not about work, it's about very desire, keeping it in your mind, especially communicating with other people, and then kind of waiting and filtering more and more reality. It's gonna take time, it's a process, it's not gonna happen all in one day. But then you will be getting closer in a very strange way. It will feel as if someone is helping you out, like some external force. And this is, I think, what the movie The Secret was talking about. Because I came to this analyzing my own life experience. Like, how did I end up in those great situations that I always wanted to end up in? And it was so far removed from me when I intended it initially. And that's what they were saying as well, like create a very compelling vision, think about it a lot, feel it, talk about it, and then when you see the opportunity, take the inspired action. And I think this is like the easy way to achieve.
Okay. Though The Secret, as well as Esther Hicks or Abraham Hicks, I would say they go beyond, at least in the explanation of how it's happening. They don't just say it's a subconscious mind that can do much more for you than you consciously can perceive. They would say, actually, there is a higher intelligence you can call God, or you can call something else, but there is this higher intelligence, and this higher intelligence will listen to you and will make things happen. So it's something kind of like God. You can call it high intelligence. And that is something I find questionable. And there's really no evidence for that. And the evidence that people get is kind of by what you are saying, by what you're describing. There's sometimes you come to situations you're like, actually this is kind of like how it should have been. Things seem to have aligned. But in fact, it's not that it's externally aligned. It's just you yourself aligned it for you. And then afterwards you think, oh, maybe some external forces helped me. Like, for example, in the example earlier, when the guy's going through this book, he's suddenly noticing, wow, the secret on how to get on the mountain. He wants to go on the mountain. So he's saying, wow, this is like such a coincidence that I find this. But no, it's not such a coincidence, because the subconscious mind is constantly looking through 1,000 times the information that your conscious mind is going through. So if it's going through 1,000 times the amount of information, it's bound to find out these things that could lead you to your goal if you tell it to look for these things. So it's not a coincidence. So maybe you could say people think must be something supernatural, higher intelligence or God. But in fact, our subconscious mind has this power. We just don't know about it.
I agree. I mean, the way they explain it is unproven and they are observing a phenomenon, and the phenomenon is real, I think. And I think the subconscious mind explanation is correct. And we can see that. But I think in general, many religions even are like an operating system on how to control your subconscious mind, how to pray, God, give me this and that. It's like the same process, right? Like, or God, thank you for this and that, and I'm basically cultivating gratitude, right? So those religious practices are kind of the subconscious potential. Maybe subconscious equals God in a way, or God equals subconscious. So look at this.
I'm losing you sometimes. Your voice is sometimes interrupted. You could maybe.
Okay, let's see.
Okay.
What were we talking about? The God and subconscious. Okay.
Okay, so you were saying that yes, definitely you noticed that from your experience, there were these situations where things aligned for you, and you didn't really know why. You're saying it could have been something mystical, or it could have been the subconscious. And we said that a lot of people believe in something mystical or religious, but maybe they underestimate the power of the subconscious. The subconscious being able to absorb so much more information and thereby lead you in the right direction, even though without you consciously being aware of it.
That's one thing. And the other thing is maybe we don't estimate correctly the probabilities of different things happening, right? Because maybe if there's like 1% chance of something, it does happen. If you try 100 times, it will happen once, right? So even very unlikely events have certain probability of happening, and maybe sometimes those are also happening. So there is like subconscious, and there's just the chance. You can get lucky as well, like completely like throw a dice, and you can sometimes have 6, right? So combination of all of that basically creates this easy mode where if you know what you want, it's so much easier to get it than if you have no idea, and then you will not get it for sure, right?
Exactly. And the other thing is that in the hindsight, many people look back and then feel that what they got is exactly what they asked for. Let's say, hypothetically, Sebastian 10 years ago was somebody who was interested in finance, and he was interested in languages, and he was interested in content development and self-improvement. These 4 things. And then one of these things happened. The other 3 didn't happen. And now you're saying, wow, I was interested in this one thing, and now this thing happened. Yeah, but the other 3 things didn't happen. And so you kind of look back and justify to yourself that what you got, is actually what you were asking for.
Good one.
Another explanation.
This is like a bias, a cognitive bias, right?
Exactly. And you can see it many times with relationships. Relationships break up, and then after 1 month, the person that was so hurt during that month prays to God and says, God, I'm so thankful you made this happen. I now can see that the relationship actually was bad for me. So I'm so thankful for you that the relationship broke. So every time you find reasons why what happened actually made sense.
So there is also like this survivorship bias, right? That only the goals that you actually achieved, then you consider for this, and
exactly.
no one else to do. Yeah, but I think if you have certain vision for your life, like how you want to make money, how you want to contribute, how you want relationships to look like, how you want your health to look like, and so on, then you will be moving in that direction, and you will be using all kinds of resources, books and friends and conversations and insights to move you there, as long as you have like the vision that's maybe unique, maybe you want to do something that other people don't do, and that sets you apart a bit. But then even if it's hard to imagine how to get there initially, over time, over the years, you find yourself in this situation. It's like, whoa, I wanted it, but I didn't know how to get there, but now I'm here and I don't even know how it happened almost.
Has it ever happened to you?
Yeah, I think so. Like, you know, like the moment I started thinking about, let's say, passive income, it was like such an idea, such a revolutionary idea. No one I knew had any passive income and so on. But then slowly I started just focusing on that and rejecting all the opportunities that were not related to that. And then somehow, you know.
But I mean, I could argue that you're a very smart guy, and you are into new technologies. So giving an estimate on your financial situation 10 years ago, it wouldn't have been worse than what it is now. Like, it's kind of predictable that you either were going to be a multimillionaire and getting passive income from your bank account without having to work anymore, or you're going to have a business, a lifestyle business, which is creating passive income every single month. So that was something that it's not even surprising to me. Like 10 years ago, I would have been surprised if it wouldn't be, if this now wouldn't be the case.
But I do have friends who, let's say, work as programmers. They make a lot of money, but it's not passive. So I think what happens when you have a goal, you reject all the opportunities that lead you away from your goal. And that's the key. That's like what Steve Jobs was saying, that he's proud of what Apple didn't do. There were so many opportunities to get distracted, to get into like stuff that wasn't that amazing. But because you keep your eyes on the prize and you know where you're going, you're not going to waste your time around the thing, but you go straight for it. Even if it's hard, even if it's going to take you 5 more years, you that's what you want and that's what you're going for, right?
That is true. Yes, that is very true. I've seen this, for example, many times, but for example, with multi-level marketing organizations, that generally those people that tend to do well are those people that for some reason have no other choice. Say, if they have a university degree and they got many job offers and they get to a little bit of Herbalife or Amway, multi-level marketing, they're not going to probably succeed in this. Why? Because they're not intelligent, they're not hardworking? No, because they have so many other opportunities. And the other people that have no other opportunities, they're going to say, well, this has to work, so I'm going to make it work.
It's like Tony Robbins was saying that in the moment of decisions, destiny is shaped. And if you made the decision to, let's say, make passive income, you're not gonna be getting a job basically, and all of that, right? Or if you decided to have, I don't know, non-monogamous relationships, you're not gonna get married and so on. So this provides clarity, and maybe there's less cognitive drain on you, because you know that those other options are kind of not for you. So you instantly like block them out and ignore them, and you focus on what you actually want. And all the focus goes where you want. You don't get distracted. If you are uncertain what you want, then you try to find something in everything. Whereas if you know exactly this is what I want, you block out all the noise around it and you just focus.
Okay, so what advice could you give to somebody to benefit from making himself or herself luckier?
It's about having like a vision of what you want in your life, how you want to live. And it can be a very original vision. It can be a vision you don't know how to get to yet. But if it's something that really resonates with you, with your true nature, it might be very different than society promotes and so on, then just focus on that and give yourself time, and anything that you see that can help you, do that. And be patient, because over time, over the years, you will be getting closer to that. Even if it's hard to imagine how it's going to happen today. Well, one of those things was when I wanted to go to the US when I was very young. I was like 17. I kind of fell in love with New York, and I had absolutely no way to go there. But one day I was browsing a newspaper, and I saw an ad for Camp America, and it was for students, and I wasn't a student even yet. But they had some presentation in a town nearby. I went, I asked if I can go. They didn't know, but then I went, and it was just like a miracle. You know, I was in New York like 2 years later, completely, it was crazy. So if you know what you want, you don't know how it's going to happen, you will maybe make it happen by some coincidence you don't even know that will happen in 5 months or something.
Okay. Probably most people would say, if you ask them, do you have a vision of the future? They would say, yeah, of course I have a vision of the future. Because they interpret a vision of the future as a wish for the future. So they'd say, yeah, I want more money. I want more happiness. I want to have more money and be happier. That's my vision for the future. And maybe relax a bit more and work less. Now, so then would you say, okay, that's a good vision, or how does a vision have to be a good vision?
It needs to be precise, much more precise than this, and it needs to be something that resonates with you deeply, something you are automatically attracted to when you hear it. Like you hear the idea and you're like, yes, that, I want that. I wasn't sure about what I want, but this sounds like exactly what I want, right? For example, where to live, right? Like I want to live in like a hot climate with like palm trees, the beach. I want that. Like,
but if I were to say I'm looking for peace of mind, I'm looking for a good sexual partner, I'm looking for a lot of money, and I'm looking for spiritual development. You would say that's not precise enough?
Yeah, I would say so. Because you look for a partner, that's great. So write down all you want in the partner. Think about all of your exes and what was the best about each of them, and like combine a list of like the partner, and that moment you start attracting the right people, and you see the wrong people, and you don't waste any time with them because you know that they don't have what you want. So that's another thing, just like getting a little bit more clarity, or like what does it mean to you to be peaceful? Does it mean to you to have like 2 years of living expenses saved up, or passive income? What does it mean exactly, right? And when you have a precise picture, then it's going to be much easier to manifest it in your life.
But what if what you're looking for is in fact not the thing that's making you happy? Let's say you are 15 years old and you see a Ferrari and you say, I want to have a Ferrari. And then you decide to study a certain thing, thinking that with that money that you're going to be having after you graduate, you're going to be able to buy this Ferrari. So maybe you become an investment banker to buy this Ferrari. What if what you're wishing for actually is not the real thing? It's not really what really makes you happy. What if what you wish for actually is something that's not so good for you, like the Ferrari.
I think this is when you realize the agenda of society instead of listening to your inner voice. Why do you want the Ferrari as well, right? Like, do you want to feel important or something? Like, there is a reason, and I feel that some goals, maybe for me at least, it was the goal is very different than what the majority of the society is doing, and that's when I know it's like my goal. It's not coming from society. The society is going this way, and I'm going that way, and I know this is my path, and I know I resonate with this path so much more. So intuitively, I had this more unique vision maybe, and maybe that's how you know it's more yours, and it will serve you better because you are the author of that. You're not just like hearing, oh, what's cool? Oh, you need to have a Ferrari. Okay, I want the Ferrari. No.
Okay. Can you tell me 10 years ago, what were the main elements of your vision and how much closer you are to this vision now?
So I think, yeah, I wanted to have like a location independent lifestyle, my own business, passive income, live in a really nice climate and place, have some really good relations with other people.
Not only think about what you already achieved, but what it was like 10 years ago. Because I guess we have a tendency, as we already mentioned, to focus on the things that actually is on our mind now. But what was it 10 years ago? And was there any difference from what you wanted 10 years ago to what you want now? Or is it still the same?
That's a good question. I think like the major components were the same from when even 20 years ago, maybe not 20, but like 15 years ago or something as well, right? But I was getting more clarity as I was going, and I was experimenting with different things, and maybe dropping some parts of the vision and maybe developing some other parts of the vision, right? So maybe initially I wanted to like have a girlfriend, and then I saw how that is, and then I wanted to have something maybe more casual or something. So you navigate through it as you get feedback from reality as well.
Okay, so coming back to the question, what were the main elements of your vision 10 years ago?
That's what I told you. I think that those were the ones. I was starting my business.
Okay, so basically location independent work, being able to be in a good climate, being able to be with good people.
And passive income and online business. I was starting an online business at the time. My business is 10 years old now. So, yeah. And you? Do you remember?
Yeah, I do remember. It's a bit similar to you. I wanted to, well, yes and no, because for me there have been some conflicting visions as well. So one was, and there are of course different levels of vision. So what I mean with different levels of vision is we have the let's say the mission goal, and then we have the how we can accomplish this mission goal, and then we have the different projects we're working on. I mean, the project level, of course, they always change. The project level would always change, and the task level would always change, or they would change daily. But the mission goals have always remained the same for more than 20 years. And the mission goals for me were, however, not very specific. So the more concrete it gets, the more lower level it gets, the more specific things are. So the mission goal for me have been always three, which is when you die, have made the world a better place, have made as many experiences as possible, and while you're living, be happy. And it's very general. Happiness is very general. Doesn't say excitement, doesn't say peace of mind. And the same with it doesn't say how you achieve it with a family or with marriage, or in your case, a non-monogamous relationship. And the same with how do I improve the world? Anything would do, according to that mission statement. And what do I learn? Anything could be different people, different countries, different cultures, different religions. So on this very general level, this hasn't changed. then the project level, the level below, to some extent has changed. And there I always had some conflict between, on the one hand, I wanted to go into an organization where I felt I could have a large amount of influence, independent of financial benefits, an NGO as well as a politician. And I've been in political organizations. And on the other hand, I thought about the uh, the entrepreneurial route. And so, yes, there have been some changes on the project level. On the mission level, there has never been a change. I do think that because of the goal of learning a lot of things and being in many different cultures and many different countries and doing many different things, and therefore this has made things more difficult, because when you do different things, you automatically have you have so many more options, and the options make it difficult to have only one vision. So, I studied law, I studied economics, I studied business administration, I studied the different masters in all different countries. I lived in so many different countries, so that now for me to decide which country I want to live in, which which work I want to do until the rest of my life, and have this only one vision, is kind of tough. And that's why it's maybe a bit harder for me, since this vision is is on the project level is changing. It's a bit hard to achieve the same level of achievement that I could have achieved if I had a uni-focused vision for a long period of time.
That makes a lot of sense, but it's also a question of style. I think perceivers want to explore different options, and but I think a vision is almost like a gift that it comes, and you have that clarity, that alignment, like what I feel inside and the vision, they just like attract each other somehow, and you feel it, like there's a feeling. Because if you talk about the Ferrari, I have no feelings. I'm like, oh, Ferrari, whatever. It's more problem than it's worth, right? But there were parts that I felt very connected to. And for example, last year, I was on this course about abundance. It was like hypnosis for abundance, whatever. And one of the things that I did during this course was creating a vision for my apartment. I wanted like a modern, nice apartment in the city center and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And almost like by accident, I moved to an apartment like this this month. And without almost intending it somehow, but like somehow it kind of happened. And I just realized after doing it, like, that's kind of what I wanted 1 year ago. I was thinking about exactly this thing, and it's like, it's part of my reality. So it's interesting. Yeah.
Okay. You wanted something and you bought something. Okay.
No,
You
but
got
not straight away. No, it's like I intended it, and then I went through a lot of different things, and then by accident I had to change the flat, and I asked the owner if they have another flat that's available, and they have this one, and it was like that, like not directly. I didn't go directly, okay, give me the most luxurious apartment in the city on the website for luxurious apartment. That would be too easy.
Mhm.
It just kind of organically like ended up like that, and I was like, wow.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, what more advice could you give to people who want to be luckier? So you said be very specific in your mission,
Yeah,
in your
instead of
vision.
focusing on hard work, you may be better off specifying what exactly do you want, why do you want it, connecting with it emotionally, maybe making sure that this is something that you truly want and not the society tells you to want. So if you go against society, I think it's more true, because that shows that you actually did your own thinking rather than just like listen to what other people say you need to want, right?
Mm. Where is it that your vision goes against society? Where is it different from what society would want?
No job, for example, no one location where you stay forever, no marriage, no kids, kind of thing.
I think that's what most people want, to be honest.
But that's not what most people do. Like most people have a job, live in one place, have a wife, 2 kids, mortgage, and yeah, this kind of thing.
Okay. Understood.
Do you see the effortlessness of it a little bit? Like people maybe either think it's impossible to create what they want, or they think it's really a lot of hard work. Whereas I think if you have a clear vision and if you connect to this vision quite a bit, and if it's pulling you emotionally as well, how they say in The Secret, actually, that's exactly how it is. Like if you feel it, if you can see it, then with time you will get lucky to get that somehow much easier than you would think initially.
It's in your case, taking your case as an example, I don't feel it's a very good example of it, because you have worked. I think you have worked hard. Last year you were working hard.
Yeah.
Last year many things didn't work out. It could have been that things just that you would just would have a breakdown, and due to this breakdown you would have to close the whole business. And if you close the whole business, then all the work to build a passive income would have been done for nothing. You wouldn't have a corporate career because you spent 10 years working on your business without being in the corporate world. And then you might have had financial problems. You would have to go back to the corporate world and maybe have a much lower paying job than you would have had if you would have started in the corporate world 10 years ago. So you, to some extent, you could say you were lucky that things worked out. But to be honest, it was I think it was hard work, and it's not like you're making so much more, even in passive income, than you as a really smart guy would have made if you would have spent the last 10 years working at Google or Facebook.
For sure. Yeah. It's more like a matter of style and the freedom that you get. So it's not like financial freedom, but like time freedom. So that's what I always wanted, right? Because people might be making a lot of money on their jobs, but they work 70 hours a week, and that's kind of not what I like. But you were right. I mean, but there's also a lot of luck in the fact that you can have a business for 10 years. So many things changed over the 10 years, right? And you have to keep on readjusting the business in order to fit the new reality every time. So yeah, there is some element of work, but there's also some element of intention. And I think actually, you know what's interesting about this whole thing? I think there's like a money thermostat in your brain. Like you have the minimum amount, and if you don't have that amount, you will do anything and everything, and you will work 15 hours days as long as it takes to get that. But above that, you're not that motivated. Like you need to have that minimum thing that you are accustomed to, that you think is normal for you, that's okay. And this is like a minimum standard in everything, right? Like let's say if you don't have any partner, but you want to have some minimal, at least partner relations or whatever, like you will also be very proactive about that. But when you do get that, then you will be chilling and maybe focusing on something else.
Mm-hmm.
I think we are really good at getting the minimum standard that we have in our brain. So you can also reprogram that if you want, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. Coming back to what you said was the having a strong vision and then finally able to succeed, like in your case. I've been an entrepreneur for quite a long time, and I've met so many other entrepreneurs. What I think they all had in common is that they had either a very strong vision or a strong vision. There's nobody who has like a medium strong vision, at least at the beginning of when they start the business. And I would say 90% of those companies don't exist anymore. And so they spent a lot of time. They had this vision. Their subconscious was focused on getting this done. But for some reason, it didn't work. And there's so many different explanations why it didn't work. Market not ready, product not being developed because there were some developers who messed up, who then left the company. So many different reasons why something cannot work, even though the person focused on it and thought he would deserve the luck because he was really working hard. He was thinking about the success all the time. His subconscious mind was coming up with all the different ideas and opportunities where he should look or she should look. But there's so many reasons why things cannot work out.
And I think that's why it's important not to obsess about this particular business or this particular person. It's more like, this is the kind of lifestyle I want to live. This is the kind of business I want to have. I'm not saying it has to be in this industry, it has to be with this name. if this doesn't work, I will create a similar business that will work potentially, or something like that, right? If it doesn't work with the person A, you will find another person who is kind of similar to person A with whom it will work out. So we cannot get too stuck on the specifics, but we need to have a vision of like how it should feel and what were the main components of it. Maybe the fact that you want the passive income, location, dependent lifestyle. Now there are 20 different ways to get there, and maybe some of them will not work for you, and you will keep on trying, and then one will work for you, right? Or you will date many different people, and maybe one of them will work for you, and others will not. And it's a part of the process. So you cannot get stuck on like this company has to work, or this person has to work, or nothing.
Okay. All right. Good. So Sebastian, how about you summarize your learnings?
Now, I think the main thing is that it doesn't have to be that hard, but if you have clarity and if it's something that you actually want deeply within, and then keep on focusing on it. Don't stress too much about it. Notice opportunities, take the steps that you can see from where you are, and trust that in the end of the day, after a year or 3 years or something, you will end up there. But also,
okay, but if I just may ask a question, clarifying question, just related to what you mentioned before. You said, don't be too specific. You want passive income, but it doesn't have to be with one thing or the other thing, just generally passive income. That would mean less clarity, or the relationship doesn't have to be with one person or with the other, just general, a certain monogamous relationship. But that means you have less clarity because you don't want to have, because clarity means in some way you're fixated on certain thing. If you don't want to be fixated, you want to be flexible, you have to say that you're not focused on the details, you're more focused on the general concept. But focusing on the general concept means you have less clarity, and less clarity means a less powerful vision. If I know exactly the car I want to drive, a red Ferrari, and I want to have a house at the beach with palm trees there, and I want to have 3 children, then that's a very specific vision, which empowers our subconscious mind to be very specific and be much more powerful in attracting these things. If you are more general, saying, yeah, I want to have a nice house, I want to have a nice passive income, and I want to have a nice family, you're much less specific, meaning it's more likely that you get something which would be inside this vision, but the vision would be less powerful, and your activation of your subconscious and maybe the activation of the supernatural intelligence would also be less powerful.
I think there is some optimal level of clarity. And for example, if you're looking for a person, it shouldn't be, oh, this person with this and this name, this concrete person has to be with that person, otherwise it's wrong. But you can very clearly define what you're looking for in that person, and any person that matches that description is a potential candidate, but you're not stuck on any particular candidate because you know that you're selecting from like larger pool. And the same thing with the business. You might be very excited about business A that meets your criteria, but then you realize that this business is not going anywhere. So you pivot to the business that still meets your criteria that you want, but is more, I don't know, has better product market fit, right?
But I mean, just for me, this hasn't worked out because I have been very specific, not on a specific person, but on a specific criteria, as you said. For example, for the person I'm looking for as a life partner, I'm looking for a person who at least speaks 5 languages in common with me, has a similar level of intelligence, which means genius level of intelligence, is very good looking, top 5%, and is emotionally mature, is into mindfulness and emotional mature, and is a very good listener, and is not materialistic, and has a mission to make the world a better place. So these are my criteria. It happens that so far I haven't found anybody that fits those criteria. Even though I'm just looking for criteria, there is nobody that I've found so far.
You know, I think what you're looking for, I think what could help you in this context is looking for personality types that are INFJ. Like among those, I met people who would be matching their criteria. So that's an interesting twist on it as well. So maybe you should put it in your profile, like if you're INFP or INFJ, like swipe right.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just saying, are you in the top 5% intelligence? 95% are out. Do you speak 5 languages in common with me? 99% of the people are out. Are you in the top 10% in terms of looks? 90% of the people are out. So then whom am I left with?
Yeah. So actually, I think INFJs that I know speak 5 languages by default. So it's interesting. And they are super intelligent as well, because IN types are the most intelligent of all time. So
IN what? INT? INF?
INFJ. They speak 5 languages by default. Yeah, the ones I know. And they are super smart.
People who speak 5 languages, who speak 5 languages in common with me.
I think because you speak so many, I think that would work for some cases.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
I reduced my requirement to 3 or 4. Even that's difficult to find.
My requirement is 1, but if there are 2, like English and Spanish, I love it, because you can mix a little bit, and it's very good.
And if it's English, Spanish, and Polish, it's even better?
No, it's not better. It's okay.
Okay. All right. So I'm just going to stop the recording.